I'm very curious as to if you have pivoted at all in the last year or changed your strategy or tweaked it or anything like that.
You mean with the Rona, with COVID?
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
Yeah, even
Okay.
kind of after the close down, the shutdown, if you changed anything because of what happened.
Originally, when it first happened, we were just trying to break out the crystal ball to figure out what was going to happen, right? Like, I mean, honestly, at the beginning part of it is like, is anybody pay their rent in May? I'm not sure. Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
And so it became a, literally take it day by day. Really, it was more kind of be present in the moment and just, resolve problems as they came up. That was our initial reaction, and just tried to, stay ahead and predict a few things on what would happen. But really just instead of thinking years in advance, COVID caused us to think like weeks and months in advance, and sometimes in the very beginning, days in advance, just to respond to what was directly in front of us. Since then, that's like, 6 months of COVID mindset, right? Since then, because of the run up on inflation and because of the affinity that the markets had for real estate recently and things like that, it's caused us to up our acquisition strategies to get a little more aggressive, because I think that we're looking at a marketplace now where people, because of COVID, are just looking for safe harbors, right? And places to put capital to kind of ride what some think will be a big inflation tsunami that's going to come through. And so because of that, we've pivoted in our acquisition strategies by, perhaps dropping our rates of return, what we're offering to investors, and just being a little more realistic. Also seeking things that have to cash flow today. So we're not looking at deals that if I can't make cash flow on it today, then I likely won't do the deal, even if it's a little bit. Because as much as we think there is a lot of inflation coming, if that doesn't happen and I don't get to ride inflation up to make the property to make money, then we're stuck with something that's a loser. That's not cash flowing, and I might end up holding the bag for a very long time. Liz and I were investing in 2008, and a lot of our properties just rode right through that because they were cash flowing before the crash, right? And what cash flow does is it enables you to weather a storm, because rents did not dip at all in 2008. And so if those that are predicting a big inflation bump are actually wrong, and there's something else that happens and we end up either taking a pause or taking a drop or something like that, it is my prediction anyway, or my experience from last time, that it is cash flow that will carry us through that, enable us to just maybe hold our breath for a little bit. But cash flow enables you to do that, and maybe just not sell for a while. You just kind of have to ride it out for a bit longer. So those are some of the things that we're working on right now through COVID. Maybe proceeding a little more cautiously, but also just trying to stay into the game because of how aggressive things have gotten. So.
Have you used the market at all in its current state to sell any properties or to offload maybe properties that weren't performing as well?
Well, that's the one thing. This market's been very forgiving. Interestingly, we had one property that going into COVID was 50% occupied, right? This is a 198 unit complex. And I half joke, it's true. COVID's the best thing that ever happened to that place, right? Because what we did was we kept marketing the units, and we were the one apartment complex in that town that it was in that was open for business for receiving applications. And it's not like we invented anything, but we took technology that already existed and we did touchless showings. So we started marketing. This is like in, April, May, when everybody's shut in, but not for nothing, people had to move too, right?
Yeah.
So we were marketing that you don't have to touch a human being or even sit this close to a human being to come move into one of our apartments. So we did a Show Mojo or a Rently key box. They showed the property themselves. They just, did an automatic lease in the email, ACH deposits and things like that. And so COVID began, we were at 50% occupancy. The property's now at 98% occupancy, and we have it up for sale. So we have used COVID and just the run up on inflation to liquidate things, and also it's allowed us to take things that are either mediocre or not working, or just decided that the timer on that property's popped a bit. In that we're not selling everything because I don't think that's the right thing to do per se. And it's also just not the script we gave investors that we're going to do. And we want to kind of stick to the script on this is what we said. And so we're going to carry that out. But it enabled us to sell properties probably a little better for maybe a better number than we would have, had COVID not happen. So that's okay. Maybe a blessing in disguise.
What would be your one piece of advice to a rookie investor?
So for a rookie investor that wants to get into larger and larger residential deals, right? You have two options. You either scale organically, which is what Liz and I did. We bought, single family home, duplex, then a quadruplex, and everything like that. And to put it simply, I tell investors, double your portfolio every time you do a deal. So, buy a duplex, then buy 4, then buy an 8, then buy a 16, right? And you scale pretty quickly that way, right? The other option you have is to join an existing real estate team and find a way to add value, find a way to I can help them find deals. I am an awesome analyst or a good underwriter. I'm great with numbers,
you gain
right?
Experience.
Yeah. So gain experience through that team. Too many people want to run into this business and first deal, I want to go buy a 100-unit apartment building or go buy a 200-unit apartment building. And it's fun. It's, that's what I want to do. It's, ego, pound your chest or whatever. But you're not going to be successful. I don't believe that a newer investor is not going to be able to reach to that hurdle that quickly. I think that what they're better off doing is joining a team that's already doing that work or scale organically, and they can do it very quickly. So,
well, thank you so much for sharing that with us.